Greetings, everyone. Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. I hope you know what today is. Might not mean much to some people, might mean a lot of things to other people. It's Easter. I tried to get it in before the day ended. Some people it means a lot, some people it means very little. If you're religious, it depends what religion you follow, how much it means to you. And then again, it's a holiday for some people, but since the virus is here, I think everybody's on holiday week. So there's a lot to go over today. I hope you sit back and relax. Try to. You might not like anything I'm going to say, but that's up to you. All I'm going to try to do is release the truth out as much as I know it is, to the level that I know it is at as well. We have a serious problem going on the planet right now, and who's responsible for that? Well, it seems like it's going to turn out Gates is involved with it, and we'll find out soon enough how deep it was going into that. But outside of, are you staying safe? Are you doing what you're supposed to? Right or wrong, good or bad, you need to follow the laws that you live in. Even Jesus said that. You don't like the laws, you change them. But the laws that are there, you have to live by them. So with that being said, I hope you're putting your mask on when you go out and staying as safe as you can. Don't go near people if you can't. Stay away from them. You better learn. So here in Hawaii, it's not as bad as the mainland, but we have problems going on here as well. Where I used to live in Jersey is being one of the most affected places in the United States, along with New York. And you hear people saying it's fake. This is fake. That's fake. No matter what you believe, real or right, real not, right or wrong, if you can prove it, that's a different story. I went to a hospital and it was empty. Well, what's that mean? All the people are somewhere else. There's a lot of different reasons why different things are happening, why the army is out there in full force, and why everything else is going down the way it is. Don't think China's not involved completely in this. They are. And that the United States, somebody inside it was, and I just mentioned the name already, who was involved with Canada and everybody else that got involved with this problem. So it's not a simple thing. And now with 5G coming out, which is extremely dangerous, whether people want to hear that or not, that's their choice. You can make up fairy tales and tell yourself it's not going to do anything. Depends what you feel important in life, what you want to follow, what's real or what's not real. I'm going to go into religions and so-called spiritual paths today. Now, I'm assuming that whoever you are out there listening, you have a religion or a path. You're believing something, I hope. Could be an atheist, believing nothing. Believe that this is all there is, and when it's over, it's over. Well, but that's all you believe is true. You're going to have to play the game to the fullest to get what you can out of it. Or you should be trying to. You shouldn't be sitting back and just saying, whoa, what a life, it's over, I'm glad. And then leave and think nothing's going to happen. But on the other hand, for all those people that do believe and have an awareness and are accepting their own religions, there's a lot going on. Now, I'm going to talk in numbers. The biggest number of population in the United States and the world of religion, we'll start with the number one religion, Christianity. It's roughly 2.45 billion right now. The one under it is Muslims. That's 2.2 or 2.1 billion. And then you go into Hinduism and everything else, they start getting lesser and lesser numbers. Jesus said something, I don't think anybody knows it or not, and I'll give a reason why later. But he said, the most spiritual path will have the least followers. He didn't use the word spiritual, he said truest. But that's the way it's going to go down. Now, if you consider yourself a Christian and one of the most spiritual people on the planet, you can dream all you want. If you're a Muslim and believe that you're so spiritual, that's your truth as well. Here's the thing people need to look at. What's happening to the world right now? How long has it been this way? Are we moving in a cycle to become more aware, more spiritual, more realized, more awake? We're not. Even though in the UFO world, that's all you hear. And all the new spiritualists that come out, I call New Age people. Oh, we're becoming six-dimensional beings. We're going to be more aware. We're going to be what? You're going to grow wings. You're going to grow fangs. What are you going to grow, really? See somebody flying around, other than the so-called monster stories or UFO stories. So, okay, one religion, we'll start with Christianity, has a lot of faults. And the fault is that man tried to rearrange it and recreate it. If you think Christianity came from Jesus Christ, you're wrong. All right. The belief system before Jesus came here was different. It was based on Jewish religion. And then when it started changing, uh, Jesus was a Jew. That's what they say. But he left the religion, left the path, and created his own truth. I should say he found it. All right. And what was his truth? Well, the sad part, which I'm going to tell everybody right now, I don't care who you are, priest, minister, rabbi, pope, whatever you think you are, whoever you think you are, you're so full of baloney, you have no truth and no understanding of what Jesus was even trying to teach. Because it's not in the Bible. So how can you say you understand who and what he is? How can you pray to somebody when you don't even know who and what they are or were? All right. Oh, he's your protector. Oh, he's your forgiver. He's this, that, and the other thing. Create words. Man loves to protect himself, no matter what it does. And this is a man's world, and it always has been for 20, 30,000 years. It changed after Atlantis went down. It became a man's world, and alien races became programmers for us as well. Now, and the reason why I'm going to talk the way I do, because I'm aware of all my past lives, from Atlantis to the present. And what I learned in all those lifetimes, we learn very little in a lifetime. And awareness is usually not what you're learning. You're learning the problems of reality, how to deal with reality, which has nothing to do with spiritual truth and spiritual realms. Whatever you face here, you're facing it because you have a body, a physical body, meaning it has a brain, a heart, lungs, liver, and all those kind of things. A pulse, it has 5 sensors: smell, taste, sight, hearing, feeling, all those kind of things. But they all disappear when you die. You don't take them with you either. The mind, and I say the best way to look at it is basically, let me stop that blinking light. All right, the best way to work at that is look at yourself as a person. Okay, you're in this body. And when you die, you leave that body. So what can you take with you? The brain's going to deteriorate. The heart's going to deteriorate. Everything in this body is going to deteriorate. Dust to dust. Really? Well, for the body, it is. But for soul, which came into the body when it was an embryo, and it decided which body it was allowed to come into, and came into it right before it was born. So that's how soul gets into the body. Not like it's always in the body. It doesn't stay in the body. And it uses this body until it dies. Hopefully, what was supposed to happen, souls were supposed to move forward, become aware of what happens when they die, aware of what they're going to do when they leave this world. Many teachers came out, and their teachings took people away from the truth. Now, before Jesus came, we had Moses, who was one of the biggest prophets, spiritualists, whatever words you want to use for him. I call him Black Magician. Was teaching what? His programmed, limited viewpoint of God. It doesn't describe much in the beginning of the Bible at all. So the understanding of God is such a limited viewpoint. And to think God talks to people, that's delusional. You know, in this multi-universe that we live in, there's thousands of galaxies and everything else out there. And there's lots of races, different kind of races of beings and people and things out there. And you think it decides to pick one of them or one person to talk to? I'm not going to go into names, people that say they talk to God and they write books about it and become super famous and rich. Do you think God is there to make money off of? To teach his teachings and make money off of them? No, it's not. When Jesus was here teaching about God, now this you might not understand or believe or accept, he was the only one talking about a real God. Go back to the beginning of time. Atlantis was a different story. They were aware. They went through ascension. and that word's being abused. I don't think one person on this planet, well, there's a few people that might understand what ascension is. But do they really go through it or know how to go through it or know what it means when you do go through it? I truly doubt it. So here's the thing. We're talking about Christianity, how it got started. We're talking about the beginning of time. It all fits together. I go in circles to try to follow me. The earth was becoming popularized by people, and I should say populated. Alien races came here and went. Why? Why didn't any of them stay here? All right. And then humans were brought here. Weren't grown here, weren't put together here. And there was 9 races. And man can't perceive that. I mean, if you believe we all came from Adam and Eve, you wouldn't have black, red, yellow, white. No, you wouldn't. And you wouldn't even know about the purple race, the green race, the blue race. There were races here in Atlantis and they left. Why? Because they were aware beings. They became aware. The 4 races that stayed here didn't. And that's why they're still here. And they're still not moving forward. The numbers, there's 150,000 people dying daily. And I'm not talking about the virus. There's 300,000 that are born daily. So there's more people coming here than leaving. So reincarnation is a word most Christians don't accept or deal with. They don't understand much about death. They want to believe. A belief system is believing in something that's not provable. Experience is something you experience that helps prove it to you. It won't prove it to everybody. I can give you all my experiences to prove why I know what I know and why I believe it 100%, why I give my life to my truth. Because I know it's right and I know it's real. Not that anybody else can change or to tell me something different because they didn't experience anything that I have. I mean, I could say I was next to a Bigfoot. Some people could say they were close to a Bigfoot. I was next to an alien. Some people could say that. I was next to a ship. People could say that. But I had 5 death experiences. How many people can say that? Oh, I had 1. And people that claim they had a death experience or did usually have nothing to say about it. Oh, I met an angel. I met my father, met my mother, and they said I couldn't stay and they sent me back home. You are on a path of spiritual realization called God realization. Is individual. Nobody, nowhere can stop or change that. As you unfold and you become aware, you go past the little gods that control all these other realms to God. And until you're able to do that, you can't move forward. If you don't know what ascension is, I'll try to get that cleared right now before we go any deeper. Ascending means going from here to the astral plane where you go when you die. Some people don't even do that. But ascension means you go through the gateway into the inner part of the astral plane where you learn abilities. That's where Jesus went, to ascension. He came back with 32 psychic abilities. I use the word psychic. It wasn't psychic then. It was just abilities of spirit. And he didn't use all of them. He could have, but he didn't. Today we have people trying to use every ability they can. Mediumship, clairvoyancy, telepathy, mind control, mind reading, remote viewing, and all those kind of words. Astral projection, soul travel. And some people can use some of them a little. Nobody on this planet has any of them to like 100% or even 60 or 50%. Maybe 5%, 10% if a person has the ability. If one person, just one person, was able to see 1 minute into the future, they can change all reality. Remember that. Think about that. 1 minute. Just being able to prophesize 1 minute in the future. Not 10 years, 100 years, or 1,000 years. All right. I can go into a lot of things, but I don't know if I have time. I will get back to that. Now, the word is the Pleiadians. All right. From the universe, galaxy, Pleiadian. They come from a race, Pleiades. But we're not going to go into that yet. I want to deal with here and now. Why it's Easter. What happens today? What happened today, really? All right. Religions are separated in what they want to believe because it's controlled by a person. Most religions don't deal with a God or even understand God. Christianity uses Jesus as God. Jesus never was God. Never. Never wanted to be, never was. No one, no thing can become God. God is what it is. You can get very close to God, which Jesus was, and probably the closest out of all humans that ever existed. But we're all sons of God if you want to look at it in one way. People take what he said and twist it. I heard him say it directly, so it's not like I'm saying what people assumed he said. I know what he said. He was teaching to the poor and really kind of humble people, farmers and fishermen. The Galileans, saying it right, sorry. And they were poor, most of them. No writing skills, no chemistry skills and things like that. But they were simple-minded. He had to word things for them to understand. Well, I'm sure if you understand anything about Jesus, if you believe in him at all, he disappeared for years. That's when he went to ascension. That's when he was taught. All right? And he learned what he did when he came back. And he was no longer Jewish. All right? His teachings came from God. So a big difference when somebody says, well, now, to throw it in real fast, the Muslim religion, I don't know, don't say I'm making any of this up because I'm not. Read the Quran and read what they say in that. Muhammad was creating a religion, and then he meets Gabriel. Gabriel gives him these 36 phrases to create his religion with as well. He didn't even know who it was. His brother had to tell him. Oh, you were with Gabriel. How's his brother know anything? How's his brother know Gabriel? Angels are not teachers. They never were teachers. Not in this reality. They can't teach you how to live in this world. They can teach you about the inner worlds when you die and you're in a soul body, really your astral body, and teach you things. And that's where they do teach you, not here. Because everything you learn here is useless in the astral plane. The ideas, the programming, the belief systems you have are useless. If you hold on to them, you'll never stay there. You'll be back here. Attachment is one of the worst. I call them the 5 passions. It was one religion talks about the 5 passions in mine: lust, greed, anger, vanity, and attachment. I change them because it's a man's world. So I changed it to drugs, sex, sports, cheap thrills. You can throw in love at the end, but they don't truly understand what love is. Nobody does. So with that, I mean, the cheap thrills and sports and stuff keep man alive. Take it away. What do they have? Sex, and take that away, they got zero. They don't have any awareness of spirit and anything else beyond that. And neither does soul, doesn't deal with any of them. So when you leave this world, you're useless to soul, who you are, what you really are. So what I'm saying is what you learned here hasn't helped you in any way when you died. So you think you're going to stay on the astral plane, not knowing what to do, where to go, how to do anything, and what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do there? Every realm has its own rules. Up until you reach the highest plane that soul can attain, which is the soul plane. Soul is then given by God the right to become its own thing. And it can go further than that even. God lets souls go higher if they're able. But when you're going from the astral plane to the mental plane to the 4th, 3rd, and 4th plane, there's rules and regulations. But once you get past the astral plane, all negativity is out of your life. Can't get in it with it. Can't go past the gods of it. Now, here's something that people will not agree with, and I don't care if they do, because they never got there. They never faced gods of these different realms. Out of this the whole time in my life, I only met a few people that even understood much about it. You can talk about it. You can talk all you want about anything. But unless you experience it, there's certain things you got to do to get past each god. The 2nd realm, which is the astral plane, you have to do something to get past that god. The mental plane, you have to do something to get past that god. Well, what is it? I can't give you the key, and I wouldn't. If I had it, I wouldn't give it to nobody. Nobody deserves that key until they find it themselves, which means they stay here in the physical world thinking that sex and love and everything's important. Until you let go of all that. And I'm not going to take the Buddhist stand where everything's just the dream, the illusion. No, it's all real. Much realer than you could ever imagine, including your dreams and everything else what you think of, and all that's reality, but how it affects you and what you do. But without the searching, without the desire to get closer to God, you don't learn anything that'll make you more aware. And all these UFO people, all these spiritualists, all these New Age speakers. Oh, just sit back, close your eyes, think of nothingness, and you're one with everything. One with everything. What does that mean? I'm one with the grasshopper. I'm one with the flower. I'm one with the tree. I'm one with the ocean. And what's that do for you? I feel good. Really? Is that what it does for you? Makes you feel good? You think feeling good is spiritual? You're living in hell, per Jesus. All right? This is a place you're supposed to be getting out of, not trying to stay in. Or the drugs, or the help, or the New Age stuff to live longer. No, you don't want to live longer. You want to learn how to become spiritual, become aware, and leave. Not stay here. There's no reason to stay here. Well, I created a family. Well, create 1,000 families and just stay here forever. Don't ever get close enough to experience God. Oh, I experience God every day. I talk to him and I feel him. Feel him. That's what most people say. I talk to him. It's not a him, and it's not a her. So get that out of your brain, because Moses programmed it into you by the phrase, we are creating in God's image. Are we? No, we're not. Do you know what God's image is? Did Moses? Moses' God was a burning bush. I have a picture of a burning bush. I was going to put it up that I shot. Not a real burning bush on fire that was physically on fire. But that's an idea that he created for mankind. Did he understand God? I mean, if you understand the Old Testament, which is a bunch of lies and stories, Moses was the creator of about a third, a little bit over a third of the Bible. All his programmed ideas and teachings. He created 613 laws from the original 10 that he brought down. All right? Read them. They're not destructive. They're not evil. So when people say, well, religion's outdated. No, that's the most important part of religion, especially the Jewish religion. But they created 613 laws on top of that, which take away from every one of those. I sat in a Jewish temple for a year and a half. I worked in Jewish houses. I know how they live. I know what they believe in. I know their belief system. Now, we could go into the Muslims as well. The ideas of what they believe God to be, what heaven to be. Imagine thinking you're going to go to heaven and have sex with multiple young virgins. How delusional of the program is, but it sounds good. And men like things that sound good. Whether it turns out to be good or not, it's a different story. But if it sounds good, oh, let's do it. Let's climb a mountain. Maybe we'll fall off. Maybe we won't. The cheap thrill of almost being able to die gives them excitement. How many people can survive without drinking and doing drugs? Very few people. They're so drained, withdrawn. They're all in depression in some level, no matter how good their sex life is, no matter how great of a football game they played or any of that. Look at the crime. Look at the abuse. Look what happens in between all that. It's a real world. Hell. Now, the more we get into this, I want you to follow through with the idea that this isn't heaven. Never was intended to be. What Jesus taught was much more important than living in hell. When Jesus faced, I almost said that the wrong word, but when Jesus can't even say it, met with Satan, what do you think happened? 40 days and 40 nights. Jesus didn't kill Satan. Satan didn't kill Jesus. They were going at it. They were debating each other. All right? Satan was never God, and neither was Jesus. So for people to think Jesus is going to come back and kill out all the demons and devil and Satan, why? God allows it to be there. Anything that leaves, anything that happens, it has to be allowed by God. Not that God has to follow every move and action you do. That's why the higher angels are there. That's what the deity gods are there for. Like, do you think God has to go, oh, he's going to the bathroom right now, oh, better leave him alone? Do you think things like that? He has to? He has to this and he has to that? No. The awareness that God has, you think you ever can be one with that? It would blow your body apart right this second if you even got close to the level that you're at. Oh, I'm spiritual. What makes a person spiritual? I've been asking people on my show every week, every month, every year, what's spiritual? Why are you spiritual? Why do you think you're spiritual? Nobody comes up with a slight answer other than, oh, I send unconditional love to everybody. Oh, I give money when I can. That makes you spiritual? Now, let's go into, since this is a really holy day, when Jesus was walking around meeting people, children came to him without knowing who he was. Why? Because he radiated energy that goes through reality. If you're a negative person, you can't feel it. Children are the most open souls on this planet, and they're the most ended up getting corrupted by parents. But let's go past that part. Women and men were able to perceive it and felt it and saw it, and when they touched him. All that being said, up until what happened when Mr. I won't say names of people, but when he was killed. All right. How many people, his own people, turned against him? Now, all I can say, if you personally stood before Jesus and looked him in the eye, you could never be the same. He was a reflection. He was a doorway to go into the higher worlds. But he wasn't God. God wouldn't have to go through, you wouldn't have to go through that to see God if you were looking directly at God, would you? But he used the word Father because man was very humble, limited in their thinking. He had to use a word they understood. God is I don't even know how he would describe what God is, per se, to a person, other than, well, how would you relate to what I know it is? Well, he's your father, like your father. Oh, I know my father. So he gave the image of somebody that cares about you. And that's where they got the whole idea of protection. Well, my father would do anything for my son. And why God would do anything for his children, except make them not who they are. If God wanted everybody to be spiritual, we would have been. But we were given that freedom to become that on our own accord. God doesn't care how long it takes you to do it. If you're on a path to attain that, that's all that matters. It could take 10 lifetimes, 100 lifetimes, or 1,000 lifetimes. It doesn't matter to God. But if you're on that path, it does. If you're not, you think God cares about every murderer and rapist on this planet? Sorry, there's been a lot of chemtrails in the sky today, and it bothers me a lot. But you think God cares what these people do? That's why this is called hell. That's why a tsunami can come out and wash a city away. Why these things happen. It's not just for the bad people, it's for the good people too. So you're in a spiritual spot in your mind and you believe everything is better than it is here, which it is. And you're living as pure as you can. Why not leave? Oh, well, I got all these ties that I made. No, you're not tied to anything. Soul is on an individual path back to God by itself. The idea of soulmates? Really? You're going to look for a soulmate? And then what? Try to travel with them? They make their own karma, you make your own karma, and then you have to deal with theirs, they have to deal with yours. You'll never get anywhere. You're here to clean out and work out your karma, which when you were born into this world, you took on the earth's karma as well. Everybody's stuck with that. Meaning what's happening to the planet right now. We're all here now. We all got to deal with it. Whatever your karma is, it doesn't matter. You have to deal with earth karma. And if you choose to live on earth, you'll always deal with earth's karma. All right, let's go further than that. You rise above your karma. You learn how to not create karma. People don't understand reincarnation. And it's not like all the new age speakers out there. I would challenge them to their face and call them liar. Deceitful, evil beings, false prophets of their own imagination. All right. When you die, Soul steps out of this body. Only aware beings know what it does when it does. Or had a death experience. I went, saw an angel, and came back. A lot more happened. So much more. But the mind can't perceive it. The mind's limited to what it understands. What the mind. I hope back. I see my sign come up saying it's a lousy connection. It just came back, but I don't know how much you missed. I hope not a lot. I don't know where it ended or not. I'm going to just keep going. I'm going to throw a couple things into the picture as well, because this is a very important day to think of who you are really, what you're really here to do. Please don't say to yourself you're here to save mankind. Take on the role of Jesus, take on the role of who else? Buddha or anybody else? You really think you're that? Sure, there's a few people are. One person thinks he talks to God and tells everybody what God says. Really? God talks to individuals if it ever decides to, but usually doesn't. And if it does, it's to rise that soul up. Because living in hell means you're going to be fighting Satan. Satan doesn't lose. His army is so incredibly big, and the world's being pulled into it every day. Look at all the events. How do you know where your truth is? Well, you believe this person, now you believe this person, believe that person. How do you know your truth is real versus mine? Easy. Look outside, look around you, read the newspaper, watch the news for one day. See what's really happening on a planet. Learn about the things that are destructive and destroying it. Then you'll understand that this isn't the most beautiful place to be. Never was. Never was up until after Atlantis was destroyed. Now, aliens came and went many times. Why didn't they stay here? Why did they bring us here? All right? And what did they expect from us? You're going to find out soon enough. By what the events that are going to happen in the next 10, 20 years. I don't think it'll go much longer than that. What it's all about. Robots, future, technology. Not about you and your job and your children. Think anybody in that realm, in a higher power, rich, money people, care about every little starving child? They wouldn't be trillionaires if they cared about children. If they cared about women getting raped, they wouldn't be billionaires either. Gates is evil, and he's coming out. He's going to be exposed every which way, and hopefully mankind will learn from that. Money changes everything, sung by Cyndi Lauper. It sure does. Doesn't make anything better. My best friend just went into money, and it's like he's changed completely. But when you change, what are you changing into? Can you admit what you are when you change? If you're a demon worshiper and then you become a Christian worshiper, can't admit that, can't say it. When you follow a demon and you still worship him, are you better than anybody else or worse than anybody else? Well, Satan, you're not getting nowhere. His only purpose is to keep everybody here. Well, you died? No, he wants your soul to stay here. And every time he gets you to reincarnate back here, he's happy. And Satan's a he, it's not a she. So yeah, there's women demons as well, but he's a he. Satan's a he. But what's happening now, children, because of their parents being ignorant, let them get pulled into this dark side real fast, real easy when they're young. The horrible games they let their children play. Murder opens the gate for Satan to step right in. Why do you think you see children going and shooting children? They don't care. It's a game. When you put a movie out like The Matrix, which shows how reality is, and if you ever really tried to relate to that, you would understand what you're doing and how you're playing the game. Which way do you want to go? Like the one game that came out, Grand Theft Auto. You could be bad, you could be good, you could be the person doing the bad stuff, beating people up, you could be the cop, arresting people, you could be anything you want. So what's to tell our children? That you can be good or bad? Yes, we all can be, but what are we supposed to be? Whatever we want to be, people believe that. Hold on, I just can't see who's in the chat room. Hey, tinfoil hat. Greetings. Glad you're listening. If you got a question, stick it in there. You have to realize where we're going. Nowhere good. And the future of mankind, pretty lame. Because we're going to have robots doing everything. And I'm sure you can see that. If a robot did, like Walmart, now, this whole thing fits together, which I'm trying to explain to you. China knew that, know what they're doing, and they got one of the richest people paying and supporting things that are happening. So when people die, when people get taken out, Walmart has already been putting robots in a lot of their stores. Do you know that? They're supposed to be doing it here in Hawaii and have most of the people taken out within a year and have most robots working everything. All right. What's that mean? How many jobs eliminated? The same as your phone. Companies don't want to talk to people. Let the computers talk to them now. They don't need people to talk to people, which is even scarier because every voice you hear is not even a real person. I live with the person that invented that. I'm not going to say his name. I can't say where he lives. But he invented the technology that links the human voice to a cell phone and recreates it and all that. Multi-billionaire. All right. So he lost a lot of money as well during the crash. But where are we today, and who are we going to listen to? You can listen to me if you want, but that's your choice. You might think I'm a complete fool, crazy idiot. Well, I went through that. Everybody goes through different stages. I went through thinking love was the only thing important in life. And it depends what kind of love it is. I mean, I love all the people that were in my life, but it doesn't help anything. It doesn't change anything. In a relationship, if somebody stops loving you, you can't change that. You can't make it better. So what we want to put our faith in is not as positive, and more crime is committed in love than not. More hate crimes and things like that. Husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, cheating, things like that. It destroys a relationship, at least to one of them. The one that did it wasn't thinking of their relationship or the love they had or didn't have. So we have a problem. Are you listening to the sounds of man or listening to the sounds of God? God talks to us in sound, and it comes through all these different angels and deities all the way down to this realm. Music is close to it. Music can be cultivated. Not in a good way, but usually something comes out of music. I mean, sure, a person can be talking about death and things like. I mean, even Bob Dylan came out with a song just recently, new album on the death of Kennedy. It's 17 minutes long. He doesn't always sing, really. He kind of raps, but he was one of the first people to do that. A lot of his albums, he does that in a lot of songs. I mean, he wouldn't call half of what he does singing. But he's real. He was one of the greatest writers ever to live. And why I brought him up, he directly said live, he sold his soul to the devil. He said it, not me. And he said when he did, everything he ever wrote became gold. So why do you think people sell their souls to the devil? Because the rewards sound so outrageous. He gave songs to people. Every person that took one of his songs became a top seller, top of the charts with his song. So, and he said, well, I'm not the only one that did it. So, it's an awareness that people accept. Well, if I don't sell my soul to the devil, I'll be stuck in hell. Well, if I sell my soul to the devil, I can get anything I want. What sounds better? Getting anything you want? Having things? Or I could become a millionaire and give all my children millions of dollars. I could do a lot of things when you sell your soul out. And money is the first place they'll steal it. And when Jesus said, and I have to say this, everything I ever do, I always have to say it once. Jesus said directly, it's easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich person to go into heaven. And he gave a scenario. He gave an actual idea, image of it happening and how it happens. But do you realize most people do? Without awareness, you can do it unaware. You don't have to be aware to do it. In lack of awareness, you can do it. Aware means being aware of God, nothing else. Aware of spaceships, aware of aliens, aware of butterflies. What are you aware of? Nothing. Nothing important. Speed. Tesla and Einstein, the two smartest people in a way, but people give them credit for being the most smartest. Smart. Neither one of them really were super smart. I mean, we create an IQ based on what kind of knowledge? God? No. Angels? No. Demons? No. So what does it really mean? You're smart on planet Earth, and that's all you are. But let's start with the first one. All right. Tesla was different because Tesla actually worked with aliens and got incredible knowledge from them. Einstein worked with an alien race that gave him a lot of false information. And people accepted everything he said. We can't go faster than the speed of time. We can't go backwards and forwards in time. Both of them were lies. Tesla proved both of them wrong. Einstein came up with a theory nothing could be bigger than a certain size, which I guess a couple of years ago we had the biggest quantum object in space that they just found and said it couldn't exist. So Einstein was a theorist, for my word, created theories that people accept. Now, when Tesla came out with, basically released 200 copyrighted ideas of inventions, 50 of them the government took in the United States, and then they let him they put the rest of them in his country in a museum they created up about him. Were any of them beneficial to the human race? Well, people think Tesla cars, Tesla this, Tesla that are going to save mankind. No, they're not. The weapons Tesla created are going to help destroy this planet. Right? You know, I'm sorry if you just expect me to say love, light, compassion. Jesus was everything. Jesus was the only thing important in my reality now. Not what the Bible says, because the Bible doesn't know what he was teaching. The Bible doesn't understand who he was, what he was. Immaculate Conception being that was God. No. He had brothers, and they became part of his disciples as well. But again, his disciples turned against him. Imagine that the most spiritual person walking this planet, they try to help kill him, and they do. Don't worry, all the people that were following Jesus, 90% of them were killed rather fast. If you were caught doing what Jesus taught, you were killed, and people can't even put that in the Bible. But then again, who I was friends with when I was alive in that lifetime was Mary Magdalene. She was above Mary, the mother of Jesus, because she was the most spiritual person to walk the planet. Why would you say that? Because she had all the abilities Jesus had. How could I prove that? Because she had to finish teaching the disciples what Jesus couldn't. Peter would have never became who he was if he didn't follow Mary Magdalene's teachings later on. He would have never met Jesus if he didn't follow what she taught him. They were taught things, and if you think it was just love and compassion, give me a break. How do you teach love? You don't. You can only show it. And that's pretty lame because most people can't even show it. Oh, I love you. That proves you love somebody? Love is beyond that, even when it comes to death. Trying to make somebody stay here because you love them, that's sad. When a person's leaving, trying to hold on because you don't want to leave them, that's sad. Soul's on a journey. Every little thing could stop it from taking its course and becoming what it really truly wants to be. But soul is an aware being when it's outside of the body. But if it takes all the programs it's stuck with from here, it doesn't want to leave, so it comes back. And it thinks it's important to come back. Oh, you notice a lot of families say, well, my child looks like my grandfather. He acts like my grandfather. Or he acts like my grandmother. I'm not saying it can't be their reincarnation, which it could be. But a lot of times people created too much karma. They don't get to pick where they want to come back to, or even have the idea where they want to come back to. You'd be thrown in India as a starving person for the next reincarnation. Where do you think rapists go? To hell? This is it. It doesn't get any worse. Now, people say, oh, no, no. Dante's Inferno, where he talks about all the levels of hell. There's no levels of hell. You're in it. You see levels here? The level is, do you get killed, beat up, shot, murdered, raped, abused? What? That's the level you get. Freeze to death in a car, yeah. Burn to death in a fire. When you describe fire and ice, yeah, that's how you would do it in the physical reality, not in. Now, when you see your child die, you're in hell. Things like that. Your house gets broken into and you see people kill your husband or wife. You're in hell. You think you're in heaven? Think you're protected? From what? From the idea that this is an important life. See, all those things keep your attention focused on earth, meaning not the spiritual side of life, the spiritual side of soul. Now, when Jesus walked his path, when he talked to these people, he had to give simple teachings to the simple-minded people. When he was on the mount and he read these things to them, but he was trying to build peace among these people, which didn't happen. Look what happened after he left. Christianity became twisted and abused and lying. I mean, the idea that all his followers were married. Why couldn't Catholic priests get married? It's a sad story, and it goes on. What he taught was incredible. If you pull out the Bible, you're not going to see it. Go deeper than that. Go a lot deeper. If you had a lifetime, you might even had a lifetime with them. I know one of my best friends was a god. I know another person that was somebody around, not Mary, the mother of Jesus, Mary, another Mary. I know people that had lives there. But you had lives before that. And all the karma you accumulated from lifetime to lifetime. I was lucky when I was alive with Jesus. And I'm not going to go into the story why I came back in this lifetime. Because I was well off. And I was close to Jesus. I was close to Mary Magdalene. Why would I want to come back? Well, that's for me to know. I mean, it's in my book, but we learn by what we perceive. What we perceive, whether it enters the heart or not. And I'm in the physical heart, in our heart consciousness, meaning soul. And soul is not the brain. The brain holds every memory. And they're all useless. Every single thing you're learning is not going to help you in the higher worlds. Because hate, anger, lying, cheating, stealing, murder, all those things don't exist. So what good would it, any memories that my child died or I died? And none of that. Soul is in its, etheric body? Not a soul body yet. Soul is soul plane is the hardest place to get to. I mean, from here, you can attain it. There's a possibility. But you have to be aware of that and work for it. Nothing's given easy. People think when they die, they become angels. All these psychics saying this, that, and the other thing, they're holding on to the people that are holding on. I just wrote a letter to Van Prawn saying, look, you tell these people lies, but why don't you tell them where their parents really are now? Soul reincarnates. Most souls do. And if they're on the astral plane, they're doing something, not sitting there thinking about their children. So if they are, they'll be there for a short period of time and they'll be back here. That's called reincarnation right away. And reincarnation usually happens for the average person between 5 and 10 years, depending on how much they can do in a short time that they're there. But realize time there is so different than time here. You can do 1,000 times more things in the same amount of time there as that you would here. There's a lot of things to learn, and all those are beneficial when you die. Not even knowing where you're going to go, what you're going to do, what you're going to look like. We can go into that real fast. You're going to be an age that you want to be. Anywhere, usually 26 to 36 years old. You could choose to be an old man image or a child. But if you're a child, guess what? You're going to have to learn everything, and you're not going to have the time to do it because you'll be reincarnating again. So people usually pick 26 to 36 years old. Now, you don't have to eat. You don't have to do anything. You don't have a solid body. You can't be killed. So that changes a lot of things. You can still throw negative thoughts at people and things like that, but you can't kill them, can't hurt them. And you're still under Lucifer. Now you're under Lucifer and Satnam and Jehovah. All right, those three gods actually control what happens or allows you to do. Hold on. I mean, somebody's asking me about lives. It's really important to learn your past lives while you're here and alive. At least a couple. Because you'll understand why you have karma, the karma that you have, why you think it's such a good life. When it disappears, it doesn't make things, it hides the truth from you. Well, if you want, we can talk later. We have to realize that we're here for a short time. Maximum ever anybody lived was 125 years. Now, when you're reaching that age, when you're 110, 115, guess what? You saw a lot of your family die. Is that what you want? Is that a spiritual person hanging on to watch his family die? What are you hanging on for? You can't do much. Sitting around just staring, watch TV. You did that half of your life already. Going skiing, jumping off of mountains. What are you doing? So the idea of living longer, these pills that are going to make people live longer, good for them. Stay in hell as long as you want. You don't need pills to do it. And you don't have to be a good person to do that either. Because no matter how good you think you are, you can always do something bad that'll take that away. And I always think about that. I can make one wrong move and cause a serious problem in my life by making the wrong decision to do the wrong thing. Now, there's a difference between doing the wrong thing and doing the wrong thing because you know what you're doing, or doing the wrong thing because you don't know what you're doing. Now, you can't be held accountable for something you don't know. Your mother never told you anything about something, and you do it because somebody said do it. You don't know the difference. But when you know something is wrong, you can't do it. So when you become realized, God realization, you know what's wrong and what's right. And you can't do the wrong things anymore. And Jesus said to his followers, go out and sin no more. He didn't say come back next week and I'll forgive you again. But funny, very few souls move forward in that time frame. And all these Christians, that 2.4 billion, think that they're spiritual, that Jesus is going to come back and save them. There's a movie that just came out, and I hate to promote it because it wasn't the best movie I ever saw. It was more like a documentary. Before the Wrath. And the Wrath meaning the death of Jesus. But the movie tries to explain the whole body of marriage relates to the union between you and Jesus. All right? That's a good idea. But here's the thing. The movie, as the main thing, the main sentence they want you to realize is mankind shouldn't be asking, when is Jesus coming back? Most people say, well, when's Jesus going to come back? When's Jesus going to come back? He's coming back soon. The question that the movie tries to push, which is a real idea, is why would Jesus come back? And people need to ask themselves that personally. Why would he? Why would Jesus want to come back? All right. When we think about that, think about the people that do things and they don't care what they do. That's one thing. You care about what you do. You take responsibility of other people. Get involved with people's karma. You get stuck with people's karma. But Jesus, being what he is working with spiritual beings now. People, souls that are aware. Which would you want to work with? If you had the choice to spend the next 1,000 years without worry, working with an ant colony or children, which would you rather work with? Sure hope you say children. And how much are you going to teach an ant colony? And people on this planet are very much like ants. I mean, you can even say like BI brain mentality, follow the queen, follow the leader. And you said it. If the law is unjust, change it. Don't live by a law that's not right. But while it's there, you have to live by it, or you'll get, who knows what they did to people, hang them on a cross and kill them and stuff. stone them. But now, I don't know how long I want to go, but I just want to bring aliens into the picture now. There's more aliens around the planet than ever before in history. Why would you think that? We're most ignorant we have ever been now than we were 2,000 years ago. We weren't creating that much karma in those time frames. We didn't respect love. We didn't have relationships and stuff, but we weren't creating as much karma. All right. Now we're destroying the planet, destroying the food, destroying the animals, destroying the water, destroying the air, destroying the ground we stand on. All right. What are we creating? Anything good? I challenge you to send something really important. What spiritual stuff they do? Meditation. I could challenge anybody that goes into meditation. They come out with nothing. You're supposed to go in there with nothing and think of nothing and think of one and nothingness. Really? And then you're one with nothing. And why would you want to be that? You think you went through all these incarnations to become one with nothingness? Or the secondary idea is the dream. We're living in a dream. How real could that be? I mean, Bob Dylan sang a song. You can be in my dream if I can be in yours. All right. What about that? You create a dream and reality is your dream. You must be pretty sick to create this reality. And to say you're spiritual or one with anything? You're evil. Allowing children to get abused and all the things going on. This is your reality of your dream? Sometimes I deal with hard dreams, but I have the ability to get out of my dream, go back in and change it, and make it better if I want to. Or get an experience just having fun with the dream, no matter how bad it gets. But knowing that it's not the end, and it's not the end of you as soul. So you get killed. I got killed in my dreams. You can't get killed in your dreams. Yes, you can. So, we program these ideas. I got involved with hypnosis when I was 12, started doing it when I was 14. I learned from Kreskin, and I actually learned from an army hypnotist when I was 16 more details about hypnosis and how to work with it, because I started doing mass group hypnosis and stuff like that. But by the time I was 21, I said, how about hypnotizing the body to go back inside itself? I came up with the idea, past life regression. I created cards and put them out there. I did it in New Jersey. I didn't become famous. I didn't become really good at promoting it or nothing. I did some. I mean, Dolores Cannon, who's no longer here, said she created the word. About 15 years later, after I was doing it. So, people want to take credit for things no matter what. Even people that say we've created reverse speaking and we talk real when we reverse our speech. And the ideas that get created out of our reality, it fits this reality only. It doesn't fit heaven or the worlds of God. Now, I'm going to say this. In my life, I experienced many things, and I wish people could have even one of them. Working with a deity is incredible. Oh, well, it's no, not demons. I didn't say demons. I work with a demon, doing exorcisms, but working with a deity. I was 6 till I was 12, worked with one deity. And when I was 25 to about 28, I worked with a deity. From 28 to 32, I worked with another deity, as well as who I was studying with. I studied with a medicine woman for 25 years. But all in that way, deities are real. How many people understand what a deity is or believe that they're real? Oh, it's their higher self. You're a deity? Oh, you can think like a deity? And what are you here for? To play this horrible game of life on planet Earth? Suffering, pain? Here's your life. Take your whole life. Take every single super positive thing that ever happened into your life and put it together in a time frame. How many years did you have? 1, 2, 3? Maybe? Can you say half of your life was beautiful and incredible and everything else? Can you? Well, at that point, you're probably dreaming, but that's besides the point. But take the wedding. Most women consider the wedding the best day of their lives. Best day? One day? What about 364 days? I mean, how many days of them are you enjoying? Well, I got a week's vacation coming up. And then how many bad things happen on your vacation. You get robbed. You get things like that. How perfect is your vacation to say it's the best week of your life? You have 1 week every year. All right, think about it. Well, when your first time you kissed your wife or boyfriend, whatever, first time you made love, first time you had a child. All right, it's time. But how many years is that? Out of a total of how many years you're going to live? Let me just try to read this real fast. Well, in lifetimes, some of them are short, some of them are long. Depending on how much karma you want to work out in that lifetime and how much karma you have to work out. All right. Billy Joel put out a song, Only the Good Die Young, who is the most important person in my life. He was 45 when he died. I idolized him. Nobody else. Not Superman, Batman, or any of them. My grandfather was the only person I respected as a man. But I learned it to be true because no other man I ever met deserves the title of being an idol for children. A football player, a baseball player, an idol for children. What kind of mentality is that? A dancer, anything. What's that have to do with that, being an idol? Respect of the world, respect of the human race, respect of yourself, and then respect who you bring into your life. That's being a conscious spiritual person. And how many people can do that? When a person gets divorced in their family, they had a small problem and get divorced, a big problem and they get divorced. Couldn't work it out? Didn't try. Didn't want to. The grass is always greener on the other side for the human race, especially for men. Oh, when you have a relationship, oh, there's many fish out there in the ocean. Well, I'm going to go out and catch them all. I had one, the one I wanted. I don't want any other one out there swimming around. See, we tell our children horrible ideas to slowly deteriorate idea what love truly is, what God truly is, what death truly is. How many people can teach anything about death? So, again, people without experience try to do that. I'm sorry, you can't. If you didn't have a death experience, at least one, you don't even know what it has to do with. And even if you had one, how much did you get out of that? Challenge anybody. Call me, text me, write me. Hawksblood1, AOL.com. HAWKSBLOOD1 at AOL.com. Now I challenge all the UFO people, giving us all these hype stories of ridiculous stories about being with aliens and everything else. They're not going to help us. Oh, they're going to come down and save us. From what? Ourselves? Are they going to reprogram us again? Because after Atlantis went down, they put the idea of killing and sacrifice into the human consciousness. And it was accepted. And that slowly became rape and abuse and every other word under the sun. Atlantis, none of those things existed. None of them. So what can an alien race do? They've been watching us for, 20,000 years. And this is what we're at. And we're still at what? The worst place we have ever been in. And if you think they come down, what do you think they would come here for? To teach us about Jesus? Teach us about God? Why would they? They want you to follow them. They want to be your master. Going to teach us how to love somebody? Jesus showed that. Showed us how to do it if we wanted to. I remember a few people even heard that part of what he was teaching or saw it. People around him did, because they saw how he was related to Mary Magdalene and how his love with her was. Sorry, people, he married her, had a daughter with her. And then after he was killed, Mary had to leave with her daughter. I truly believe I wasn't there at that point when her daughter became probably the head of the Knights of Templar. And if you check out the Knights of Templar, they worship Mary Magdalene, but they could mean Mary Magdalene Jr., however they would word that. There's a lot going on in between that, which I wasn't there again at that point. But like I said, I was close to Mary Magdalene. She was the most psychic gifted person to live on the planet at that time. She had a communication with Jesus and God as well. And the churches do not respect that. And sadly, 100 years later, they put all these false stories about Mary Magdalene as being a whore and everything else. because they didn't want to give any credit to a woman. Men are so evil. I hate to say that I'm a man, because men in general, 99.9%, are evil inside. And not because they like sex or anything like that, because they don't care about children. They don't care about a marriage. They don't care about things that are really important. When you create something, you got to follow it through and work it out. Everything can be worked out if two people try. And when two people create a relationship, they should be committing 100% to each other. Anything less will never work. So I hope you're getting something out of this. Please, if you have questions, answers, feel free to text me. I'm on Skype, Hawksblood11. Skype me. I love talking in real time. I don't like typing. I can't spell, and I have dyslexia, and I write backwards and all kinds of things. So yeah, it's hard for me to write. I'm on my 5th book. It's almost done. I'm trying to find somebody to help me edit it for a subject. So it's going to be really hard. And I want to get it out before I die. And I want to get it out as soon as I can, because women need to know life and what it's all about. Because men look at the book Men from Mars, Women from Venus. I mean, that's so true. We're so different. Think about those things, because people don't want to think about something that, oh, I'm married, I'm this. But think about one other thing I want you to think about too. When you die and you've come back into this life, you're not the same body. You could have been a male in your last life and you're a female in this lifetime. You could have been a female in your last lifetime and be a male in this lifetime. Now, one thing, take this in consideration. Say you were a man 10 times in 10 lifetimes, and then you come into this world as a female. Guess what? You're not going to be in balance. You're not. Or if you were a woman in 10 lifetimes and you come into this world as a man, you're not going to be in balance until you can understand that. How many people understand their past lives? None. Very few. It would help them understand the feelings and ideas and the thoughts that they have. I was a woman. I gave birth to a child. I know what it's like and feels like. But, I'm in a male body now. But do I want to be a woman and go through that again? Of course not. So, you have to look at a lot of things from a lot of different ways outside of your ego. Ego thinks they were taught right. They know what's right. And it's so far from the truth. Well, look, I could go on, but all I'll say is my last book I put out is The True Teachings of Jesus from God Realization. I don't dwell on Jesus the whole book, even though it's what he taught. Because basically what his teachings were how to get closer to God, how to rise up out of this body. That's what he had to die for. Do you understand that? Why he had to die, why he couldn't have been alive and been brought somewhere else. It wouldn't have proved anything he was teaching. All right, another idea before I leave. Excuse me 1 second. Oh, man. Oh, man. It's not an analogy, but all right. Judas was the traitor, was the evil one. No, he wasn't. I heard somebody say it just recently on a TV show even. Maybe Judas was the only one that could do what he had to do, which he was. Nobody would have done what Jesus told him to do except him. To say you have to kill your master, when you take on a master for a word, you need to follow them completely. Give your life over to them, because they will guide you to become better than they are if they're a true teacher or master. When he told Judas what he had to do, Jesus says, I'll do anything you ask me. And he asked him to do that. Jesus had to die. If he didn't die, he wouldn't be able to prove about soul leaving the body and getting out of it and being alive. Imagine he didn't die. His disciples wouldn't understand what he was teaching. They wouldn't have a clue what it was about. And just going to heaven wasn't the answer either. So when Jesus died, his disciples went crazy. Mary Magdalene had to pull them all together and start teaching them again. Through that, they were all able to see Jesus, except one of his people, because Peter Paul never saw Jesus in a physical body. All right, he had a vision. That's how he met with Jesus. But that's how you all met. They all actually met him in a vision. But see, that's understandable by people that are just following a programmed idea of what life is and how things have to happen. When Jesus was in his body, he said, "Don't touch me. I haven't ascended yet." Which he was. He was ascending to a higher realm, so he wasn't just going to the astral plane to start working on karma. All right, I'll say this. Jesus was an incredible being, and anybody that saw him would know it. But people of the darkness obviously couldn't let the light take over. Anybody that was a slave of Satan couldn't let this light being take over the world. And what do you think now? Like the movie said, what? Why would Jesus come back now? Why would Jesus come back now? To save all those souls? All the wannabe spiritual people? All the people that say they're spiritual? All the people that believe they're spiritual? Even the ones that have experiences with so-called angels and Jesus and stuff. What are they doing with their lives? Are they helping? Where did they move forward to? What do they really believe in? Did they understand anything about death, which Jesus was trying to teach them in the first place? So it's a really hardcore situation because these religions now are all delusional, not feeding anybody anything good, telling everybody they're everything they want to be or can be or whatever, and they're all one with God. Really? Spit on the ground. Say God's name in vain. Does that make you spiritual or connected? Realize the 10 Commandments are laws created to keep mankind in harmony with life. Moses decided they needed 613 laws. But again, those laws don't talk about love. All right? But they're balancing of the body and life. So if you go against them, what are you doing? Now, every Christian that, I'm sure you didn't make it to the end of this, but if you did and you're a Christian, read Revelations 3 times, slowly, and you'll read in there what sins can't be forgiven. You need to. Because if you think you're walking a pure, beautiful life, read that, and you'll realize where you are under the laws of Jesus. All right? And then the laws of Moses. And then where you are spiritually. So the delusion people have set them up to be, man creates everything as a group consciousness of men, not women. Men stick together. Men make the laws. Men make rape laws. Men make child abuse laws. Men makes a lot of laws. Muslim religions, the sex laws with their children, all that, they make their own laws. Not God. Man makes their own laws to live by, not God. If a man lived by God's laws, they would be a different kind of person. They wouldn't be following a group consciousness that is evil or wrong or twisted or not even close to the truth or want to hear the truth. And no alien on any planet in the lower realm, which they all are, is going to come here and help you become a better person spiritually. And if you think you're going to go to another planet to enjoy something, what would you enjoy? If you leave the ocean, you leave the trees, you leave anything here, you're going to find it on another planet? Avatar, the movie, made another world look incredible. And I'm probably out there somewhere out in a distant universe, there's probably one like that. Maybe that's where you should go to take the next step in your unfoldment. Just like that guy in the movie, if that was real. But we each are here to learn who and what we are as soul and then leave. No other mission. Not about finding a car, a house, having 10 children, 10 wives, whatever you believe is right or good. It's not. It's all that's the illusion, believing that it's the reality that we have to attain to become God realized. So you put the wrong words in the wrong places. The illusion is our belief system, believing it's real. We're really here. We're really doing things, but that doesn't make us spiritual. You open up a church and preach to 10 people. Does that make you spiritual? Oh, yes, it does. Why? Do you know the truth? Do you know who God and what God is? Really? Do you know what it thinks? Do you know what it feels? If anything, do you know any of that? Do you know how big God is? Do you imagine? Well, it must be pretty big. Must be pretty big? How big is that? So all the programmed, twisted little stories that you got are delusional. When I do a chart and I tell people to write a chart of God is and God isn't on two separate columns, and you can't say God is everything, do it. And then call me, text me, whatever. And I'll show you how wrong you are about everything you wrote down on that piece of paper. But I'll probably include that in my next show that I do. Because I'm going to start doing a workshop. I don't care how many people come. It's only to put the truth out there for whoever wants to hear it. But you have to be ready for something greater than what we're in right now. What things you need to learn before you die. And there are things you should learn before you die. Otherwise, dying is just a dream that you're going to come back out of, meaning back to planet Earth. With that, I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. If not, send me a letter. Tell me how much you hated it. Whatever turns you on, whatever floats your boat. You heard it here first, heard it here last, however you want to look at it. Rev.Hawksblood. I'm usually on YouTube. I gave up my other on another site as well. I'll be doing Skype as well with somebody. I do a show every Tuesday with a woman that's been being abducted half of her life. Check it out. Put the links up. Text me. Become part of my mailing list if you want. Whatever, however you want to do it. Hawksblood1, AOL.com. Till next time.